Okay, if you are in 7 Excel, we are working from the Advanced 2 textbook. If you are in Math 8, we are working from the Course 3 textbook. We are doing lesson 8.3, volume of a sphere. And it can be found on pages 350 and 351. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a sphere. A sphere is a globe. A sphere is a basketball, a soccer ball. A sphere does not have any faces. It does not have any bases. It does not have any vertexes. Okay, so a sphere is typically drawn or represented like this. It'll be a dashed line behind and a solid line in the front. And they'll give you a radius. So typically this is how a sphere is represented. Now, the volume of a sphere is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, this looks ugly, but it's not that bad. We need to remember that pi is equal to 22/7. Pi is also equal to 3.14. Now, typically, when we are dealing with volume of a sphere, because this is a fraction, we use the fraction for pi, okay? So because this is a fraction here, we use the fraction for pi. And that's exactly what the book is doing. If you use 3.14, your answer, it will, and you plug it into Big Ideas Online, it will tell you that your answer is incorrect. So we need to use the fraction here, okay? So let's put all of this together. What does all of this mean? So the book has given us this sphere that looks like this with a radius of 4 centimeters. With a radius of 4 centimeters. And we want to know what the volume of this sphere is. Well, I know that the volume of the sphere is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. Now, I would write my fraction like this with my numerator in line with pi and radius, and my denominator down below. It's going to make life a little bit easier. You'll see why in just a moment. So I want to bring this fraction down 4/3. Pi is equal to 22/7. And my radius is 4 cubed. So I'm going to bring 4/3 down again, and I'm going to bring down 22/7 again. 4 to the 3rd power. What this is telling me is 4 times 4 times 4. I have 3 4s. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. Okay, this is where you definitely need a calculator because we're going to multiply all of the numerators first. 4 times 22 times 64. 4 times 22 times 64 is 5,632. Now I'm going to multiply my denominators. 3 times 7 is 21. So 5,632 divided by 21 will give me a volume of 268. And the book only wants the first decimal place to the 10th place. 268 and 1/10. The book is only asking us to go to the 10th place, the first decimal. So this looks kind of ugly, but if you're using a calculator, it's not that bad. It's basic fraction multiplication, multiplying the numerators, then multiplying the denominator. And this is a simple fraction, the numerator divided by the denominator. There's your volume. Okay? But life does not stay that simple. Don't we wish? Because then the book likes to do something like this to us. They give us a sphere and they're telling us the volume is equal to 288 pi. And they want us to find the radius. And this pi is kind of stressing me out a little bit. Well, let's work through it. The volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. So this is still basic substitution. My volume is 288 pi equals 4/3. In this case, I'm going to leave pi as pi. I'm not turning it into a decimal. I'm not turning it into a fraction. If they're giving me pi here, I'm going to leave this as pi here. R cubed. I need to isolate my variable. So to isolate this variable, I need to get rid of all of this. I can do that. If I multiply this whole thing by the inverse, 3/4 pi. I just took the inverse. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. Now look at this. My pi's cancel each other. I no longer have to deal with that. It's gone. So now I have 3 times 288 is 864, and 4 times 1 is 4, equals, these guys are canceled too. Look at that. And all I'm left with is r cubed. So this is a division problem I can put into my calculator. 864 divided by 4 is 216 r cubed. Now this r cubed means r times r times r. I don't want to know what the 3 r's are. I want to know what 1 is. So this is where we get into cube roots. And you did touch upon this last year in 7th grade. I want the cubed root of r to the 3rd power. So what I do to one side, I must do to the other. I want the cubed root of 216. Now this is definitely where you need a calculator. Okay. Let me shrink this down just a little bit. Actually, I probably want to blow it up so you guys can see. Okay, so what we're going to do, I have 216, and I want the cubed root. Most scientific calculators will have this. 2 is a square root. The 2 here is a square root. The 3 means a cubed root. So I've typed in 216, and I want the cubed root. It's 6. So 6 times 6 is 36, times 6 is 216. So my radius is 6. Oops. There you go. So the radius is 6. Okay. So this is the nuts and bolts of what we're doing today. In some cases, they give us the radius and we need to find the volume. And it's just a matter of fractions. In other cases, they're giving us the volume and we need to find the radius. And here again, it's substitution and it's a strong foundation in fractions. Okay?